So, like I did say, I would have tried to put in another video, and here it is. In the Vice President's last press conference, he accused the coalition, as the APNO, PNC, AFC, and whatever small parties, of corruption. He also accused the better must come Nigel, leader of the AFC, as a lawyer, taking on certain categories of court cases. It's not me saying this. You will hear the video of the VP expressing himself. But then, of course, the AFC held this press conference around 1:30 p.m. today, and the AFC promptly fired back at the VP, especially Nigel and Kenraj. They saying that, especially Nigel, he was referring to the President Ali's outburst that he's gonna try to take down the drug trade, the drug transactions in Guyana. Nigel scoffed at that, saying that the only time things seems to be get done is when the DA is on the ground. And as you would know, you will see that the DA, they were bought here by the coalition. DA set up operations in Guyana in 2016, and they're going and obviously he's going to say that the PPP didn't want the DA here. And Ramjatan in this press conference spoke about some police commission authority. No, not a police commission, but some sort of authority that could overlook what's going on in the police force, and officers could have been called to give evidence and that kind of stuff, but the PPP decided to do away with it. So the fact of the matter is that these two parties, it seems as though they already started the mudslinging. Elections are around next year, and this mudslinging is going to get intense. It's going to get heated. Oil is here. The stakes are very high. The PPP, even if the president may seem to want to be sincere, they are people who might be trying to undermine that party. As you find in all situations where the leaders of both sides may try to do their best, but the people working under them do certain things to make the leader look bad, to make the party look bad. But as I said, I don't have any concrete evidence and no concrete proof. But as I see it, this is Welcome to the Dog and Pony Show, and this is going to go all the way to November 2025. Enjoy.
And then the last one is about, I see the AFC put out a statement saying that the PPP is linked to the narcotics bust. So the usual from the usual useless AFC, they're just hoping that somebody will pay attention to them. Like the shine is coming off Nigel Hughes because people are seeing him for who he is. Their leader, Nigel Hughes, has been the lawyer of choice for the drug dealers. And that has been historically known. Anybody who looks around, go back into our history and see how many offenders were, and serious offenders were defended by Nigel Hughes, and you would see he outranks every other lawyer in the country and maybe combined. He was the lawyer of choice for the drug dealers. And for them to talk about this, and including Patterson, You know what happened. If there's still, it's still murky how a family member, a close family member, went smuggled cocaine through our airport into Caribbean territory. But all they put in their statement, it's PPP and relatives or some relatives of PPP people. If that had happened to one member of our family, like a brother or something like that, every day we wouldn't have been able to live it down. They just passed it off like that. You just Google yourself. This is the kind of the nastiness, the duplicity of the AFC, as though we don't remember things. So don't pay too much attention to them. They felt they had to say something, so blame the PPP. Not to. Instead, they should be happy that this actually took place, that we had a massive narcotics bust, and that we're protecting. Our law enforcement agencies are doing a good job protecting people in the country. So that I'd end here. And by the way, or let me just deal with one thing. Anil Nandalal made clear yesterday what the regulations for the Cybercrime Act that was passed on the APNU would entail. Now, we believe in free media. We believe in people freely expressing their views on the internet. We're not for censorship on the internet. We will promote that, people's right to freedom to freely express themselves. But the United Nations now has come up with model legislation about crime that is perpetrated in cyberspace. So the regulations will fit into the United Nations framework of what they have defined would be crime in cyberspace. It's only people who do that, like to extort people using, cyber means or cyberspace to exploit people, or people who are exploiting women. We've already, when I was president, we passed that job. People would take a photo and blackmail people, of women or for all sorts of reasons. People who exploit our children, like child pornography and all of these things. These are important things for us. We're not going to allow that to happen in our country. But this is not to regulate what people say. We believe in freedom of speech and freedom of expression. And even when it's targeted to the government, people who have a right to freely express themselves, they don't have a right to break the law, but to say what they want to say, what's on their mind. And so don't buy into this hysteria that we are coming after anyone, influencers, social media commentator, or ordinary citizens. It's nonsense. It's coming from the shrill people who are using this for criminal activity. And I think
I'd like to briefly address was the headline by the president, or the statement by the president, that he was going to dismantle the drug gangs. You would have to be living in Wonderland to take that statement seriously. What is he going to dismantle the drug gangs with? I am sure when the heads of criminal enterprises in Guyana meet and they hear what the president says, they must have a good laugh. Because the president has not been able to dismantle anything looking like a drug gang unless the United States of America provides assistance. We've had 2 submarines here and almost $250 million worth of narcotics found in this country. And none of this was detected as a result of any domestic law enforcement agency. So it must mean that it is clear that the ability to locate large quantities of narcotics, the ability to locate the equipment that is used to convey these large quantities of narcotics overseas, that it is clearly beyond the capacity of the Guyana police force. So for the president to suggest that somehow he's going to go after the drug gangs, if he can't even find the drugs, what is he going after the drug gangs with? The president couldn't seriously expect the people of this country to take him anything remotely close to seriously when he's saying that. In addition to which, there appears to be a continued eradication of trust and confidence in the Guyana police force. And I will touch on just two particular incidents recently. There clearly is a suggestion that a relative of a high-ranking police officer had over $500 million in her account, and she's connected to a police officer. Nothing has come of it. In relation to the shooting outside of Palm Court, the Fagundes shooting, which must be now a year and a half old, 100 yards away from the president's residence, there has been absolutely no progress in relation to that.
Very much for that.
I just wanted, I did another little short statement on Jagdev saying the corruption under the coalition was the highest ever.
Oh, please go
Let me
ahead.
just make this point about Jagdev's statement. Jagdev's derisive comments about the coalition government being corrupt is not intended for the right-thinking Guyanese, who in the main know that that is untrue. But Jagdev is having huge problems with his rank and file. And so such untrue comments will strike a chord with his untutored party organizers and members to regain their support. That is his purpose. You see, the belly is moving these fanatical PPPites outwards, and they're shifting out of the PPP. He's trying to pull them back, and so he's going to cry wolf in relation to trying to round them up. His government is integrally syndicated with criminality. We know that long before Roger Khan said he used to do a number of activities for them. Long before Miss Young from that international television's Voice News interview with Sue got so much information which left Jagdev suing in his pants. WPS Clive Thomas had done that long time ago to prove the criminal state of the PPP in Guyana. Now it has gotten worse now in government with petro monies. Firstly, there is a signal modus of a distribution of resources from patron to client, with state resources from the coffers going downwards. Doling patronage to buy off potential political rivals are also included. And we know the various Judases around the place. But secondly, too, the reverse is happening where monies are moving up the chain of command in today's Guyana in the form of kickbacks, levies paid to superiors, and purchase for positions. We have what is called unfettered permission to extract resources for personal gain and protection from repercussions. Protection right has to be extended to the people at the bottom who are paying for the top, and that is why you will not get investigations and so on happening. So we see contracts being given to friends and family. The Schoonard Road is one, and pumping station, I think it was the Critic? Yeah. Right, yes, that the Public Procurement Commission found totally improper. The PPP government has to uphold its end of the bargain to ensure that its officials are saved. The business mode that their leadership has developed has nothing to do with governing this country. It is remarkably effective in achieving its objective, that is, enriching that ruling clique. And Jagdev should know that rather than talk about a government of which I was a part.
Thank you.